Welcome to the Frequency Led podcast. I am Jules and I love this space and I absolutely love your comments, your questions, and I am grateful for you to be here and listening, embodying, and manifesting your dream life without abandoning yourself. You're manifesting from your inner power, love, trust, and self-leadership, because that's what I call manifestation with no BS. And of course, I'm combining many different modalities here that I've learned, experienced, and played with myself, just like neuroscience, nervous system, somatics, energetics, and of course, manifestation principles. And right now I am recording this episode in the end of May, and we're getting close to hosting our first in-person retreat, which is going to be in Charleston, South Carolina. And I invite you to come and join us. And especially what I'm going to be talking about today, this is the best place to embody your powerful presence, powerful essence of being an active co-creator. And when you do that with other like-minded women, you amplify your frequency of certainty, inner power, leadership, and what's possible for you. And of course, we have another in-person retreat. Yes, there are two in June. And this one is going to be happening in the end of June, June 26th through June 29th. That's going to be in Hocking Hills, Ohio, which is basically where I live. And of course, I'm not alone at these retreats. I will be co-hosting them with other amazing women, which is Morgan Hammer in South Carolina and Shelby Hansen, who is in Ohio. So they're both amazing women, and it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. When you come and join us, you will be completing your 2026 in the frequency of your success is inevitable, because it is. So all the links are going to be provided in the show notes. Also reach out if you have any questions. And of course, I'm also available private for the summer packages that are coming out pretty soon. So I've created a nice creative summer package for my ambitious, amazing women. And you can definitely access that if you cannot join us in person. Today, I'll be talking about one of the unconscious patterns. I'm sure you're not aware of it, because I was definitely not aware of it for many, many years, even though I was living the pattern for many, many years. And when we close a gap today through this episode, I guarantee you will experience quantum leaps, quantum shifts in your external reality. So what keeps so many ambitious women stuck is not lack of action, because I know you are ambitious and you know how to get stuff done. But if just working hard were the prerequisite for your manifested reality, you would be living it now, you would be experiencing it now, and you would be just not probably even listening to this podcast. Unless you just want to know the formula, so to speak. All right. But what keeps them stuck is not lack of action. It's that they confuse motion with momentum. Motion is often just temporary activation. And this is what I mean by that. Like, not every motion is temporary activation, but this is the pattern I'm going to be focusing on today in this episode. So a lot of us unconsciously live in a constant cycle of searching for certainty outside of ourselves. We're searching for this temporary feeling of inner knowing, inner certainty. And like I said, I was one of those people. So what it looked like for me, I was constantly signing up for free webinars who are going to provide to me the formula for manifestation. I was constantly buying books and reading them and searching for that 5-step method that's going to manifest my dreams. I was also attending different retreats, and after I would come home, I would be essentially searching again for that temporary high vibe activation that I experienced at the in-person retreat. And this is not how we're going to be handling this in-person retreat. When you come home, you will actually have your identity blueprint for the next 6 months that is going to help you stay on the timeline of your vision instead of searching for this temporary activation. And of course, after this podcast, you will have awareness of these patterns within yourself. And when we have awareness, we can transmute this energy towards something that we actually desire to experience in our life. But right now, just check in with yourself, like some patterns that I already mentioned. Is this something that you are experiencing? And it's not that all of these outside tools are bad or not valuable. No, I love, to pick up a book and just expand my consciousness. I love to go to different webinars online or in person and experience that collective amplification of the energy of what's possible and infinite potential and certainty in that inner knowing. Of course, I do. However, you want to start noticing what is the frequency beneath your actions that is essentially fueling this motion, these actions, right? Because of course, doing all these tools also like visualization, meditation, or tapping or EFT, all of that are wonderful. But what often happens is that we get attached to them. And when we are not doing those tools, or we're not going to those webinars, or when we're not reading those books, we suddenly lose that feeling of certainty and feeling of inner knowing. And then again, the search continues. So essentially, it feels like this energetic addiction to these feelings. And there is this inconsistent embodiment of these feelings within yourself. So which creates this huge gap. Yes, you are in motion. And of course, for a woman who is ambitious and visionary and has these great dreams, and also she's been identifying herself with this identity that I am an action taker. I am accomplished when I do things. I do feel great and powerful when I put these actions on my calendar, right? So that's why you are in motion, and for your nervous system, it feels so familiar, like I'm acting, right? I'm doing stuff, I am learning, I'm figuring out the ways, I'm using my brain, right? But again, it's this feeling of temporary activation. And this is the cycle that I refer to as activation, drop, activation, drop, activation, drop. So if you just imagine this kind of wavy line, so you're constantly going high and low, high and low, high and low. And this is actually very exhausting. I know it was exhausting for me, so that's why I was constantly noticing myself going high and then going low, kind of like almost in those depressive states. And that didn't feel good. So, and then I would be in search again, and I would be in action again, and I would be finding again all those tools. So all those people who can again provide that feeling of certainty and inner knowing, and that I am on the right track. Okay. So what's happening here is that we're in this constant gap. And as you know, I talk a lot about a decision, making a decision. So that's why when we shift from desire to decision, the next part is the embodiment piece. It's the commitment. Commitment in love, because that's the only way you can commit. When you're falling in love with yourself, you're falling in love with your creation, you're falling in love with your vision, and in love you commit. And if you're not in love, then most likely there is something else going on there. There's some kind of levels of sacrificing that you're probably experiencing, or you're probably outsourcing your sense of worth on that manifestation that you're constantly in chase for. But this is a little bit different topic. I just kind of want to drop this here and then return back to the intentional topic that I am talking about today. So this temporary activation, it's very much energy draining, because you're essentially not stabilizing your signal as this identity who is a match to your vision. And of course, our vision is asking us to rise, and it's asking us to rise our identity so that we're a match to the wavelength of a vision. But when we are constantly searching outside of ourselves, again, we're not committed and we're not experiencing consistent embodiment of this inner knowing, of this certainty that I am the one for my vision, and my vision is for me. In the knowing that it already exists, in the knowing it already is done. So just start noticing these spikes within your system. So after that next webinar that you attend, or that next book that you're going to read, or the next retreat you're going to attend, when all of that is over, how do you feel? Start noticing in your body, what are the sensations? Do you have that sense of kind of like this withdrawal or a sense of void? Then just allow yourself to be with it, to sit with it, just to allow that to be there like a wave as you breathe through it, knowing that nothing is wrong, knowing that you're actually expanding your capacity to experience this sense of certainty a little bit longer, because most likely it's not very familiar for your nervous system, because your nervous system, again, has been in this pattern of going outside of yourself and again, relying on something outside of you to in-source this feeling of certainty and inner knowing. But when you start creating those pauses, when you're going to start sitting with those sensations, you don't have to analyze them or rewrite your thoughts or release your shadows or blocks. No, all of that is just an illusion, but just be with it. And then as you expand this space and then feel safe that this certainty is within me, that sense of inner knowing is within me. And then you're expanding your capacity to embody this sense a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And of course, when you make a decision and commit to your decision, come back to it. Come back to it every day and ask yourself, am I living in alignment with my decision? And that what is also going to help you see if your sense of embodiment is consistent, because you're going to reflect on your decision and on living in alignment with your decision every day. And just start noticing those gaps. Notice those temporary activation spikes. And this is what often I hear from many of my clients, and also different questions that I receive through social media. And this is, perhaps you can relate to this, and let me know if you do. Like, I'm doing all the things. I'm always in motion. I'm always doing stuff. Like, that was actually me. That's what I was, telling my coach. Like, I'm doing all the stuff, but it's just not happening. Like, is there something wrong with me? But nothing is wrong with you. You've just been accustomed to operate from this frequency that the answers reside outside of you. And of course, we live in a society that has so much information, right, bombarded into our sphere. And of course, we haven't learned how to carry that sense of inner certainty and inner knowing in our body, in ourselves, take ownership of that, right? We haven't learned that. So in your system, it's just operating on this constant familiar loop. But now through this episode, as you're listening, you are expanding your awareness. And again, when you're aware, you can transmute this energy. You can go back to your decision and then start embodying it, living with this decision every single day. And if you want to add some kind of tool, if you want to add some kind of book, if you want to add some kind of collective experience at the retreat or webinar, you do that not because you're lacking something, but because that sense of certainty that now you're holding and embodying daily, you can amplify by using certain tools. But don't use those tools and that information if you are outsourcing your power, your sense of inner knowing and inner certainty on those tools, because they're never meant to manifest anything for you, because everything gets manifested through you right now. Everything is available to you right now. So that's why when you're in motion, it creates this illusion of doing the work. But it's actually keeping you in this gap, in this temporary activation. Activation drop, activation drop, activation drop. So that's why all of those modalities that you're exposing yourself to, you're just leveraging and using those things in a way where they are creating temporary activation. It never becomes your consistent piece of embodiment. So that's why if you are one of those women who feels like I'm doing all the things, I'm constantly in motion, why is it not happening? Because you're living in that gap where your input does not match to your output. Just like I like to say that you're creating your $1 million reality from a $100,000 identity. They're not a match. So in here I am just being honest with you. It might feel a little like punch in the gut. And I know it was for me because of course like being in action, that was something that I was so familiar. And then really sitting with those feelings and feeling uncomfortable, that was uncomfortable. But the way that I feel now and the way that I can in-source in my own inner certainty, inner knowing, and embody my entanglement with the vision, embody that inner knowing that my vision already exists. I am one for the vision. The vision is for me. It's already done. That creates a cohesive, energetic experience where I am not constantly outsourcing my power and that feeling of inner certainty outside of me. I'm living it. I am one with the vision right now. I'm available for receiving it right now. Nothing outside of me needs to change. So, which essentially, I want you to kind of just reflect and start noticing what you repeatedly think about, what you emotionally attach to, what you constantly give your attention to, what meanings you assign to delays, silence, or the 3D reality. When something is not going, quote to quote, your way or how you think it should be going. So this is going to be your cues. Are you staying in the gap of this temporary activation in motion? But you're not actually building momentum because you're not consistently embodying your living in alignment with your decision, which essentially you're constantly questioning yourself, questioning your vision, questioning the availability, questioning that you can receive. And again, you're broadcasting a very unstable signal. And of course, the universe responds to your most dominant frequency. And then ask yourself, who am I being when I'm attending this webinar? Who am I being when I'm ordering the next book? What is the frequency beneath this action that I am again searching for the answers outside of me? And again, when you become aware, you can transmute it because the power is within you. So it's essentially how we can close the gap. We want to start again transmuting this motion, this playground of temporary activation where you are unconsciously hanging out, and we want to start creating momentum. And how we can create momentum and how we can close this gap is bringing more intentional living to how you think, how you feel, how you show up, how you take actions, and so on. Momentum is not frantic action. Momentum is stabilized frequency that comes from your decision, commitment to your decision in love, and then your thinking compounds, you taking actions compounds, your feeling certain, feeling that inner knowing compounds. So that's how we're building momentum while already living on the wavelength of a vision. In the knowing that everything gets to work, in the knowing that your vision already exists, in the knowing that you are available to receive your vision right now, experience your vision right now, because everything gets manifested through you and not outside of you. You're no longer, so when you're in momentum and consistently embodying your living and alignment with your decision, you're no longer reacting to the outside world every 5 minutes and checking, is it there yet? Is it there yet? Because I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did my five-step method. You're no longer needing constant proof, methods, hacks, signs, or validation to stay connected to your vision. Instead, you tap into those frequencies within yourself because you are the source of all creation. You are the source through which your vision gets manifested. So you become in-sourced. Meaning, I am in for my vision and my vision is in for me, regardless of the timeline, regardless of temporary appearances, regardless of circumstances. And when your frequency becomes stable, embodied, your reality begins responding to your dominant frequency and not those spikes of temporary activation. Because the universe responds less to occasional emotional high waves. So that's why we don't manifest via emotions. We manifest via identity that we decide to embody on consistent basis daily in love. So this is the shift from motion to momentum. Motion says, I need something outside of me to keep me activated. Momentum says, I am the source of inner knowing, certainty. I hold the frequency from within. I tap into the frequency from within. I live my life so that I activate these frequencies from within. And when intention, identity, and embodiment become consistent, your actions stop leaking energy in different directions. And again, when we are consistent, we become that. We're so embodied with this high elevated identity that matches a vision. We're just that. That's why we're living in the frequency. Of course it's happening. Of course it is. Of course, all these energetic events that I just experienced, of course, because how could it not? I am already that. Not until something else happens, not until I follow through 5-step method, not until I finish my book, not until I get another book. No. So just start noticing where you are spending your time, where you are directing your efforts. And again, noticing the frequency inside. And is it just that you are in motion that creates this illusion of doing the work, but not really creating the momentum of shifting your external reality to essentially reflect your dominant frequency? And of course, when your dominant frequency becomes this temporary activation, the universe is going to provide so many different opportunities to experience that activation, temporary activation. I know for myself, I was constantly following these people, signing up for this newsletter, doing this webinar, and I thought I was learning and I was doing it. Of course I was learning, but I was not even aware that I was constantly outsourcing my embodiment onto all these tools, all this information, all these other people. And when they're gone, I would feel empty again, and I would feel unfulfilled again, and I would feel so depleted again. And then I would not believe in myself, I would not believe in my vision, I would not believe it's possible, I would not believe in anything. And of course, your nervous system is in constant fight and flight and freeze here, because going up and down, that is essentially a spectrum of the whole nervous system. And you're literally operating on this high and low frequency. I know it was for me. And I always thought there was something wrong with me. And of course, being an ambitious woman, I was not comfortable to be in that freezy state where it feels like I don't want to do anything. And then I tell myself, I'm just lazy, I'm just procrastinating and all of that. But it's actually a normal response of the nervous system, because I was good at acting, right? I could take actions, I could do a lot of things, and I could sign up for so many things. And that feels familiar. But again, the nervous system always needs to rebalance, reharmonize, right? But my nervous system only knew high and low. And that signal in between wasn't there. And one reason it wasn't there, because I was outsourcing my power as a powerful manifester, as a powerful co-creator. I was outsourcing my power on something else. So another question, another self-assessment you can employ is this. Ask yourself daily, who am I choosing to be today? Am I choosing to be in alignment with my decision? Or I'm just unconsciously embodying this identity just because it's familiar. And that's where you do that energetic work. So I'm going to leave you with a few questions to ask yourself, and I really would love for you to actually do it. So pick up your pen and paper and answer these questions. Where am I playing in the playground of temporary activation? Start noticing that. Where am I actually not committing to living in alignment with a decision that I get to quantum leap my reality? Where am I not living consistently every single day in alignment with a decision that what I desire is available to me, that what I desire is manifesting through me right now? When you answer these questions, you will shed the light on the gap between being in motion and being in momentum. And awareness is where you can close the gap consciously and choose to in-source your inner knowing and embody that daily. And then yes, use whatever tools you want, knowing that the power is within you. And again, it's not the tools that manifest your vision into your reality. It is you. It is your energetic state of being. It's what you believe what's possible for you right now. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be worthy of it. You don't have to deserve it. Nothing outside of you needs to change. It's just literally you giving yourself permission to receive that what you deeply desire. And of course, that starts with your self-concept and also self-love. Because when you are, falling in love with yourself or in love with yourself, right? You're also in love with life. And when you're in love, you don't really need to earn your receiving. You're in receiving mode always. That's how you know you're in love. Because you feel it, you notice everything around you is actually working for you. And when you open up your heart to love, you're also opening your heart to the desires, to your full expressions. Because you are here to create, you are here to experience life, and manifestation is nothing but how you experience your life. It is your relationship with yourself, because you are life manifested through you. So close the gap between that temporary activation and consistent embodiment daily. Close the gap between being in motion and following that illusion of doing the work, and adding the intention to bridge the gap and shift to building the momentum where your embodied elevated identity already operates on the wavelength of your vision. And of course, we are welcoming you at our in-person retreat, where you will co-create your identity blueprint that is going to help you close this gap, and also have lots of different tools to take with you to complete your year in the frequency of your success is inevitable. Collective energy is a very amplifying energy, especially with like-minded people who love expanding and also inspiring expansion in others. But in this retreat, I guarantee when you leave, you will know what it feels like within your body to come back and tap into your own inner frequency of certainty, that deeper inner knowing, your inner power, because you are in-sourced.